So what's going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another video where today we are taking a look at the top 10 worst pack-a-punch weapons in all of Call of Duty Zombies, ranging from World at War all the way to Black Ops 4. As always with these lists, this is in my opinion, so let me know your top 10 down in the comment section below. But anyway, let's get straight into this. Here we go and enjoy. So coming in at number 10, ranking down from best to worst, and by the way, I'm not saying number 10 is the best weapon by any means. These are all pretty bad in their own right, and it was difficult to rank some of them. I mean, depending on your playstyle and on the map, some of these weapons can be better than the other, but generally this was the order I had, and for number 10 I picked the Pharaoh from Black Ops 3. Now this gun was available on all of the BO3 Zombies maps. You could either get it from the mystery box for of course the usual 950 points, or it was also a wall weapon for 700 points. So being that cheap, you wouldn't expect it to be brilliant pack-a-punched anyway. It is pretty bad unpack-a-punched, but that also goes for a lot of weapons until you upgrade them, where you would expect them to get better, but the Pharaoh really doesn't. Its upgraded name is the Whispering Regurgitator. The damage pretty much doubles, going up to 160, which by the way isn't very much. On round 1, the zombies start with 150 health, so you can see even the papped version isn't very good. It is a 4-round auto burst weapon with a mag of 60, a max ammo of 300, which again, considering how many rounds you have to go through to kill the zombies, really isn't very much. It's just very disappointing. 3 or 4 round burst weapons are usually here or there. They're never brilliant. There isn't really any top 10 best burst weapons. They're usually okay, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you've all used the Pharaoh. It is a disappointing weapon and absolutely has to come in on this list. Moving on down into number 9 is the Model Essex from Black Ops 4. I was debating whether or not to put this on this list because pretty much all of the BO4 weapons are decent, especially when you can put attachments on them. That makes a hell of a difference. But the Model Essex is, I believe, the only weapon or one of them that you can't put any attachments on, and just the bare bones version of it is awful. Now it is a starting weapon, which you would expect, but there's loads of other starting weapons such as the RK7 that are actually really good. I think if we were allowed to put attachments on this, it'd be a lot better, but you can't. When you upgrade it, it becomes the Quartermaster's Repeater. The magazine size is increased to 30, and obviously the damage as well. And even though the weapon becomes a full auto, the fire rate is still very slow. It really doesn't feel like it's improved very much once pack-a-punched, and unless you're just messing around, then I don't think too many people will pack-a-punch it seriously. Coming in at number 8 is the XM53 from Black Ops 3. Now obviously there's going to be a few launchers on this list. They're not weapons we tend to use in zombies. They usually crate crawlers, so they are useful for that. But the XM53 isn't the worst launcher. However, every time I do get this in the box, it is probably my most skipped weapon. The reasons why they're not really used is because 1, it's very easy for you to take damage off them. I can't count the amount of times launchers have downed me. 2, like I said, they create crawlers, they don't do much damage to zombies. And 3, you don't get many points. When you pack-a-punch it, it becomes the, and I'm not sure how you pronounce this, the heliacal insandicit. But the magazine size goes from 1 to 2, okay? It becomes an automatic, and the mobility, which again you would expect to be low with launchers since they're heavy, it makes your character a lot slower. You do speed up a bit, but I can imagine this is still the least pack-a-punched weapon in zombies. Even with things like the Model Essex or the Pharaoh, you pack-a-punch them thinking they might be good, but yeah, you wouldn't expect a launcher to be good. Next on the top 10 worst pack-a-punched weapons, in at number 7 is the L96A1 from Black Ops 1. Now there are some very good snipers in zombies. The DSR is probably my favourite from Black Ops 2. Also the Barrett was pretty good. Then again there's some not so good ones such as the Outlaw, but I believe the L96A1 is the worst of the bunch. The pack-a-punch version is called the L115 Isolator. The damage is doubled from 500 to 1000, but it still keeps the same fire rate. The magazine is only increased by 2 with the same mobility and reload speed. So actually, apart from the damage, it doesn't do much, and getting shots on target with this thing, it sways everywhere. It has the slowest zoom in to scope time I have ever seen. The accuracy is appalling. I've never really liked snipers in zombies anyway, since the undead can come at you from any direction. With a sniper, you're forced to zoom down the scope and look in only one area. Unless you can take the scopes off like you could in BO2, then I don't tend to use them, but even with that, it's just an awful weapon. Definitely the worst sniper in COD Zombies. Moving on down to number 6 is the flamethrower from World at War. Now, weapons from World at War are a little bit different since we only had the Pack-a-Punch machine in one map, which was Derice. The flamethrower is different to all of these other weapons though, because it doesn't have a magazine size. It doesn't run out of ammo. Yes, it does overheat, but it's basically an unlimited weapon, and so because of this you would expect there to be weaknesses, and that is the damage. The damage only does 30, however, it's a flamethrower, so it does that continuously. It does overheat pretty quickly, so the strategy to using this is in bursts, and there are some very good high round strats for this back on World at War. If you keep this and use it properly, you can go into the round 100 without having to worry about ammo, but for the average player it's not really worth using. I'm not actually 100% sure about the stats on this weapon after you upgrade it, but just going from the feel, it's pretty hard to tell any difference because of how it works, so I'm gonna leave it here. I think it deserves to come in around about the middle of this list. It's not a good weapon in terms of damage, but it does have unlimited ammo, so there we go. Moving on down to number 5 is the China Lake. Oh god, I don't really know where to begin with this weapon. It should be called the Crawler Maker. It should also be called the gun that's very effective for killing me. It's hard to judge where the grenades are exactly going on this thing, but yeah, it's a grenade launcher. The Pack-a-Punch version is called the China Beach. Yeah, right. It should be called the China Beach. The damage goes from 600 to 1000. That's with a direct hit. With an explosion, it is 600 to 1200. With an RPM of 25. These are the PAP stats. The magazine is 5, which is very low. But yeah, basically the Pack-a-Punch version has more damage, a larger mag, more ammo, higher mobility, and I will say what's better about this is you don't actually have to ADS when you fire it, but it's just a crawler maker. That's all this weapon seems to do. It doesn't kill zombies, it creates crawlers, and then it can't actually kill the crawlers, and it just causes more issues. So it deserves number 5. Moving on down to number 4 is the, I don't know how you pronounce this weapon, the Goer 43, the Goer 43, I don't know. In a few of the World at War Zombies maps, it was a starting weapon. You could buy it on Varrock, Shinonuma, and Derice for 600 points. It has a moderate ammo size, the Pack-a-Punch version having 12, which is okay for the lower rounds. I actually always thought this was a pretty cool weapon, up until about round maybe 6, 7 plus, where this thing becomes absolutely useless. When you Pack-a-Punch it, I would say about round 12, then especially with its pitiful 150 damage, that magazine size isn't even going to kill one zombie. You're going to be reloading a lot, and it's just not worth your time. It is a starting weapon, and if you've played World at War, you will know it's only good for the early rounds, and by the time you Pack-a-Punch it, by the time you have enough points to do that, you're going to be on the later rounds, and that's when this weapon's ineffective. In at number 3 we have the SMR. I'm pretty sure this is going to be on a lot of people's lists. It is one of the more, I would say, famous, hated weapons in zombies, and it's for a good reason, mainly to do with the damage. It is a semi-automatic weapon. Once Pack-a-Punched it becomes the Smiler. That's definitely not what this weapon does. In a way it's pretty similar to the FAL. I know a lot of people don't like that weapon either, however if you go for headshots with that gun it's pretty effective, but when you do with this weapon you get nothing. The damage is 120. It can fire 535 rounds per minute, which is pretty good, but yeah, the main issue with this weapon is damage. It does nothing on the earlier rounds and especially not the later ones. Coming in at number 2 we have the Panzer, not to be confused with the Panzer Soldat, but this is the Panzerschreck, the Pack-a-Punch name being the Longinus, whatever that means. It's basically a massive, bulky, slow launcher. As you've probably figured by now, I don't like launchers. This is without a doubt the worst of the bunch. This thing's that weak it struggles to create crawlers, so I don't really need to say any more for that one. Also, as you can tell, I couldn't for the life of me get any footage of this, but this is what it looks like, it's just the launcher. And then coming in at number 1, the worst Pack-a-Punched weapon in all of COD Zombies has to be the Car 98K. I don't really know where to start with this one. The fact that it's got an abysmal 100 damage unpapped, 200 Pack-a-Punched, it's terrible. This thing struggles on the early rounds, and I'm not even talking like round 2 or 3, maybe even round 1. This thing is atrocious. The rate of fire is 48, which you would imagine being a bolt action, but it's just way too slow reloading for how slow this thing kills the zombies, and that totally makes the magazine size irrelevant. It is just not a weapon you are going to use. It is a starting weapon. I think it costs like 200 points, so that just goes to show how bad it is. Yeah, if you've ever used this, I can crown it the worst weapon in zombies. A couple of other weapons that are worth mentioning are, like I said earlier, the FAL, although I think that's pretty good for headshots. When you upgrade it though, it doesn't really change. In fact, for me it felt a little bit worse. And also the Shiva, a lot of people hate that. I actually quite like the weapon, so I didn't want to put it on my list, but let me know your top 10 in the comments section below. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and until then, goodbye.